Peepy poopy, pump it up, don Kryptonium here, and today we are going to talk about algorithmic Ponzi. How to define them, how to verify that something is algorithmic Ponzi, how to understand that something is not sustainable, and you will also understand how to not be stupid in the world of algo Ponzis. So, you see, I feel that crypto like to use the term we are not the Ponzi because we do not match the original definition of the Ponzi. I give you the original definition. You see, look at this book. Imagine that there is not many copies of this book. Let's say there's only 1,000 copies, and I say, look, this is so valuable because it's so rare. I have like 1,000 of these books, and there's only 1,000 of these books in the world. And the people really want them, so the value of the book grow. Okay, there is a little bit less than 1,000, let's say, but I have 1,000 of them. And I tell you, look, if you invest into me right now, the value will grow, and I pay you 20% a year yield. So people start buying, investing, pouring money. And at some point, we realize that one of these books is valued at $1 million, and people need to take profits, right? And you know it's unsustainable, and then the people who invested first and take away money first, of course, make money. But the money drain because it's unsustainable growth, and suddenly the people at the end not getting paid because it was all Ponzi, right? Because you cannot just pour money and pay out 20% yield if the value will not grow, because this book doesn't generate any new value that is coming here. And how is crypto using that? Because let's say if someone pay out in the tokens, it will never drain. Because the US dollars might drain here if we tie this to one currency, but if you're issuer of the token, you can issue them forever, and that way you can claim it's not a Ponzi. We always can pay out. So in this relation, I will talk about Fortis Oeconomia. And this is not an attack on the project. The founders are very nice. They spoke to me, but I want you to understand the dangers of kind of gambling, right? So Fortis Oeconomia has the model of issuance, a lot of tokens that give you very high rewards. In order to get that, you lock up your tokens and play in some dungeon. And what's the value generated? You could assume, hey, many projects do that. Many projects have inflation, right? So in terms of the proof of stake chains, you use the inflation to secure the network. Let's call it utility, whatever. In order of Fortis, you don't secure the network because it uses security of the Juno network. In order of the decentralized exchanges, you use the inflation to build up the liquidity, right? Inflation is bad, don't get me wrong, but that's what everyone does. If in the modern world there's no liquidity of dollars or any other currency, the governments print dollars to build up liquidity. That's how it works. But what's the utility of Fortis? Is DEX? No. It's we will pay you more tokens if you lock up more tokens. And it can pump if you not sell it in the exchange, but if you burn it, so there is no sell pressure. Do you see the issue here? If you need the price pump, do certain actions for it to pump, that's kind of weird. But anyway, the model of the Fortis, which is great for those who get early, and I benefited from this, right? So there was the issue of the token, and good thing, all of the tokens were basically airdropped. So you can't blame anyone here. But those first ones who realized it could make really great money. But using the number of tokens of Fortis, I think double every few days. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like this. So even if the price stayed the same, the value of the project would double every few days, and we would go to insane valuation. If you look at the chart, at the $5, and many people like to say, hey, fully diluted valuation doesn't matter because it's not. It matters. When the B foot was at $5, the valuation of this was $30 billion. And it's not even long term, because in like around 5 years, all of these tokens will be out. So whether you think that at the early stage, the project that came out of nowhere is worth $30 billion or not, right? So this way, you need to understand that people will always take profits, and as they issue crazy amount of tokens, of course you will lose, because people will sell. And these tokens will end after around 5 years, so they even claim, look, this project, this experiment is leading like nowhere because it's ending after 5 years. So that's how it is. But then there would be people going on Discord saying this is the best, greatest invention of humankind. It's like improved Terra. People would claim that. But there is not really like the mechanics back in it. There's just issuance of new tokens. Okay? People would say the banking systems will adapt what the Fortis does. I think maybe someone was making that joke, but some people probably think this way. Look, they create more and more modules in order to lock up the tokens, remove sell pressure, reward the holding, and they build a lot of complicated stuff. I tell you something, if something seems too complicated, it's no good. No good. So we can go to this dungeon, and, you know, I mean, it's okay to play if you degenerate or something like this. As I said, this is not tag. You need to understand what you're into. You have Bfoot LP1. You don't know what's LP1. Maybe the boredom of like, hey, this, let's not make too many tokens, but this is token LP1, token called AP2, token called AP3, LP4, AP5, all of that. You know, lock it up, remove sell pressure, you'll be rewarded with more tokens. You know, 6 billion tokens to be very precise at the very end. So seriously, you need to ask yourself questions if this mechanics is sustainable, because 8% a day is really high rewards, and if there is nothing like backing this, the price will go down. So I just want to tell you, like, you know, there's many influencers on the Twitter saying that diamond hands, they buy in the dip. It will keep dipping more likely if the inflation is way too high. Okay? That's just so simple. It's fine to play if you know what into, but don't grab this like kind of idea like the price dip to $1 and people were like, we're going back to 5 very soon, buy in the dip. You sure we're going back to $30 billion valuation? The huge institutions don't have these valuations. I mean, I understand it's crypto, but that's really important to understand. So it's not like deep dive, but you need to understand if someone issues too many tokens, it will get diluted. And I could speculate, hey, price could go back to $1, then it will get down again probably, because that's how it is. It's just built up on the hype, but doesn't really offer usability and utility. I hate the word utility, because there is, and you know, in crypto, there is Ponzi-nomics, algorithmic Ponzi's that's still working for few years. They used maybe mechanics. Instead of locking for 2 weeks your token, you can lock it up for 10 years. Maybe Fortis would use mechanics, hey, lock up your token for 10 years. That extend the lifespan of algorithmic Ponzi for really a lot, right? Because it removes basically more and more selling pressure. So there is projects like this. So I think if yeah, that would work this way. Let me have a sip of coffee and think what I wanted to say more. It's decaf because I already had two other coffees. Just don't get people. don't get too excited. Many people think, like also when the price was at 5, probably many people think I'm missing out. 20% a day. I'm gonna get back my money in 4 days. If you are at this stage, more likely it will never work. I tell you, if there is, let's say, token, it's priced at $100, and people, it's just the moment it's going to 1,000, and you might think 10x. If I miss this 10x, I'm never getting money back. I will lose 10x. You will never lose 10x, because if token will do 10x, there is really high probability that it will do negative 10x after that. So and there was plenty example, especially in crypto. Most of the examples ended like this. So don't act this way. Do your due diligence and understand if something is Ponzinomics. If something just issuing the new tokens in order to pay you, the price will drop up because of the inflation and the selling pressure. And you could say the project would work if people wouldn't sell on the Juno swap. And I think you see now the problem with this statement. You can't ban people from selling. Don't cryptoniums out till the next time.